You're unmotivated. Your brain tells you you should study right now. Doing this will be good for you. But it feels like every atom in the universe is pulling you away from being productive. That makes two of us. Hey, it's Amy. I am blown away by your love on this video, and I love reading your comments about how you relate and how you're inspired that even with health problems, I could graduate at the top of my class. But how do we even get the motivation to try? Today we're gonna tackle that, and I'm hoping my story will inspire you to get off your butt and start doing what you gotta do. We'll go over the thing that's better than motivation, what keeps me going, how you can build your fire, what makes you stop wasting time, and the truth about your potential. At the end of the video, there will be one simple concept you can remember that's a shortcut for getting that motivation. Let's go. How was I so motivated to take 11 AP classes, do varsity sports, and win in some math competitions? My dad would always tell me that he never really had to push me. Why is that? I've been thinking about it across about a month now, so I can give you the most helpful explanation. For context, my parents were not tiger parents at all. Yes, they still were very concerned about my future success, but in general, I wanted to achieve myself. People make fun of the Asian kids sometimes, saying that they just get so much validation from their accolades or are uber competitive, or their parents are going to give them pain if they bring home a B. Yes, it felt good and boosted my ego afterward, but it goes deeper than that. The thing is, I don't have motivation for the action itself. I don't like studying. If you're searching for a solution out there to make you love studying, well, hate to break it to you, but you're looking for the wrong thing. Instead, I really care about the result, but not the immediate one like an A or a 4.0 GPA. The result I want more is the one that comes way down the line, and this desire is called drive. It's the planned effort to achieve something. Drive is constantly burning. It's much stronger than temporary bursts of motivation because it's something you feel so strongly about always. Many of us live in a very privileged society and time period, so it's not like we have an immediate threat to go do the work or we're gonna end up starving that day. And because of that, often we feel that we're okay if we just lie on the couch for 5 more minutes. And yes, immediately we're okay if we spend 10 more minutes scrolling on Instagram. But that's why, for me, drive was so important, because you need something more powerful, something that feels critical to get you going, to kind of put you in fight or flight mode. Drive is your why, your deepest reason behind doing what you do. What is my why then? Good question. I think it was 2 main things. From elementary school, I think because I started to do well in school and get good grades, that became a part of who I am, and I was proud of that. So I wanted to maintain that as much as I could. The more pride you have in a particular aspect of your identity, the more motivated you will be to maintain the habits associated with it. Essentially, if you don't have that track record yet, that's okay, because if you still believe that you are someone who does homework on time and someone who goes to the gym, then believing that you are that kind of person will make it easier for you to continue doing steps that this person would do. It's who you are, it's your identity.
It is not our abilities that show what we truly are. It is our choices.
This first part is really internal, and that's why no matter what I did, I would give my all and make the most of what I'm given. I'm not gonna half-butt something. Keep in mind that this isn't my desire to always be the best in whatever I'm doing, but it's instead to try my best in whatever I'm doing. This strong sense of identity and belief in my own potential, this was a why to keep working harder even when I didn't feel like it. I think that the identity part does come a little bit from my personality, if you believe in nature versus nurture. My parents came to the US with nothing more than $2,000 in their pockets, starting from scratch, and my mom had to work at fast food restaurants. She had to work night shifts in a factory to make ends meet. And they sacrificed so much so that they can build this middle-class life for my sister and me. In school, my parents showed a ton of support to my sister and me. They would always be searching for opportunities to help us be set up better in life. Their sacrifices made me want to make the most of the opportunities I have, because those opportunities were hard to get. I'm grateful, and I really, really value my time, because time is a gift. My parents had to walk a mile in the rain just to attend school when they were in China. And the culture there was to take extra classes before school, extra classes after school until like midnight. And I don't have to do that in the US, luckily. All their waking hours were filled with studying, so I'm privileged that I have extra time. And you're privileged too if you have time outside school. I owe many of my successes, like in math competitions, to my parents. When I was preparing for them, my dad would spend his break times in the office to study math competition techniques himself so he could teach them to me after school. If my parents put in that much time and energy because they want me to succeed, then I should definitely be putting in the work myself. That's the best way to thank them. So because I'm grateful for that, I try to be as efficient as possible and to not waste time, to study diligently and to do homework to the best quality and to do well in the extracurriculars that I'm lucky to be a part of. All right, so that was very high level, deep stuff. You cannot always be thinking of that actively, but it kind of rests in the back of your head and you still constantly know it's there because your why is so deep and such a big part of you. But having reminders is helpful as well. So, for example, in Korea, when I studied there in 2019, an incident happened and I got hit by a motorcycle. Fortunately, I was okay, like very okay considering what happened. But events like that, big or small, just remind me of the gratitude that I have. And yes, it sounds a little morbid, but sometimes it's helpful to remember those bad experiences to light a fire under your butt to go and do the things you need to do. Reminders in high school were like when my parents would attend our tennis matches that would show their love and commitment for our success. And not to mention, they would sometimes give those stories at dinner time where they talk about, oh, back in my day, it was so much harder. So yes, Asian parents saying that, it does help sometimes. So let's take a breather and let's talk about your why. Why do you want A's? Well, maybe to get a 4.0, but why do you want a 4.0? Oh, so you can get into a good college. Why do you want to get into a good college? So you see, you have to keep on peeling back the layers of the onion and go really, really deep until you cannot go deeper anymore. And that why should be so strong that when you think about it, you just can't not do work. How can you do work knowing that? And then make sure that this why is so relevant that you will constantly be reminded of it. So you don't even need motivation by the time that you have to do your work. Ultimately, for me in school, my why was 1, to reach my potential because I believed I had it in me, and 2, to make my parents' sacrifices and struggles worth it. I think it kind of relates to the gratitude part, but I want to be able to be financially comfortable enough such that I can give back to my parents however I want, because my mom would never buy nice things for herself. And even more than treating them with physical, tangible things, I want to be able to spend time with them. The more you do the work or the certain task, the closer you are to achieving your why. Every day, every hour, every minute that I delay, I make myself less likely to give what I want to those I love. That's where that sense of urgency comes in, such that I will go study immediately after school and I will put my phone away relatively easily. Like, it becomes an easy decision when you think of it this way. I trust in the process, so my why helps me maintain good habits. Are you ready for something cheesy? You are my why for making YouTube videos. All your comments and feedback about how I'm helping you, and it just feels so amazing when I know that you guys are such talented, sweet people, and then you're seeing the results that you want because you deserve those results. So that's why I keep putting in the effort to make these videos for you guys. And making videos is a hard thing, but when you have drive, you don't need to feel like doing it. Just ask yourself, do you really want your why? How badly do you want it? David Goggins, an amazing ultra marathon runner who literally started from the bottom, now we're here. He says that one of the limits to being a human is that when our minds tell us something about our capabilities, that has very little to do with the reality of what we could achieve. When you think you're done, you're only at 40% of your body's capability. And think about your why. Really think about what drives you. It's definitely going to be well worth the energy. If you absolutely cannot find your why now, here's a helpful thing to remember. I actually saw this on a TikTok that someone shared to me, and it was surprisingly good. This is what that girl says. Life is hard no matter what. I really struggle talking this day, guys, so bear with me as I refilm this part. Life is hard no matter what. It's hard to study hard and get a good grade. And it's also hard to procrastinate and not work hard and get a bad grade. In all cases of what you do, life will be hard. So you just have to pick which option you'd rather have. Would you rather have good grades and life be hard, or have not as good grades and life will still be hard? It just feels okay now as students because you're shielded by your parents. They give you a roof over your head and they cook for you. But if you don't develop good habits with that safety net while you're a student, the adult world is going to be a rude awakening. I don't want any of that for you guys. So good job that you're on my channel. That's a good first step. Thank you so much for being here. And I love you guys as always. And even if you are driven, you cannot always run on an empty tank. So here are 3 healthy habits that I use to keep my system going. Remember to drop a like below, and I'll see you next time. Peace. Life is busy, but oh, I just spit you. Yeah. Oh my gosh.